college football fans. Can you believe we are just weeks away? My goodness, weeks, actual weeks away from college football action. May I say, 2 weeks. But yeah, as you can see, getting a little excited. Well, last week, Taryn and I returned talking about national college football rankings, and of course, junior college in the 3C, 2A, also in the NJCAA. And today, we are getting right back on it as we are talking a couple more divisions that we love to cover. Division 3, Division 2, and the NAIA. Today should be a lot of fun as I welcome in my my co-host, my boy, man, all the way from not so far away from me. Pretty cool, right? We're both in SoCal, right? What's up? My boy, the NAIA Sports Radio Hall of Famer, Taryn Rodriguez. What's going on, brother? How you doing today, man?
Hey, Larry. Another day, another episode.
Right? That's what we're doing today. This is how it's going down. So here we go, brother. We are just doing our thing. We're ready to roll. And, well, Division 3, Division 2, and NAIA. Man, last year we had some crazy stuff going on last year. We'll get on that in today's show. But, once again, we appreciate you for tuning in. Let's have ourselves a good one. Once again, you are now tuned in live to 3 and Out College Edition right here on NAIA Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Welcome back, college football fans. Well, we told you to be back this week, and here we are yet again. I know. It's just cool. It's so awesome. High school football starts next week. I mean, we talked about last week in some of the monster matchups. I'm talking about freaking monster matchups that we are going to have for sure coming up in high school football, which is pretty exciting. Some of them as early as this week, I believe, Taryn, right? We talked about that, I think. Yeah, St. John Bosco and Liberty, Nevada. Also, Corona Centennial and Mater Dei, both getting down next week. I mean, those are going to be a lot of fun. That is next Saturday, actually, both those teams. Well, all 4 of those teams are going to be competing, so we're looking forward to that. And, well, here we go. You know, the high school football season is just around the corner, like really around the corner. And all the others, hey, college is following right behind. It's going to be a lot of fun. We are certainly excited for what we got coming up here. And, well, Taryn, it is going to be another great season because what other seasons would we have? You know what I mean? It's all about great seasons. So, Taryn, how you doing this morning, man?
Doing good.
Oh,
can't complain.
Oh, well, I'm glad, brother. I'm glad to hear, and I'll tell you, the best part of waking up. You thought I was gonna say it's Folgers in your cup, huh? That's like, I'm just kidding. But the best part about waking up on a Saturday morning, man, is knowing that we can come here and talk about these college and high school football teams, man. We have ourselves a great show lined up for you guys today. As you know, Division 3 is always a fun division to follow because, Taryn, the last couple of years, man, we've seen some schools just, you know, Taryn, that's kind of funny. I think you probably have the record of seeing me say these lines multiple times. But can you just move up already? Can you just move up already? I mean, Taryn, I think now, you know, you and I are both on that thing because there are some schools that seriously just need to move up already. We're looking at you, Mount Union. We're looking at you, North Dakota, South Dakota State. You know what I mean? We're looking at you guys over there who need to get your crap together. I mean, gosh dang it, North Dakota State, can you move up to the Pac-12, please? I mean, right, Taryn? I mean, golly, right?
Yeah, I mean, there should be like a relegation system in terms of like NCAA football, like yeah, for like FCS, FBS, and then NCAA Division Two, NCAA Division Three, and whatnot. And then I don't know about the NAIA. It all depends on like probably enrollment and maybe success, but you also kind of have to factor in like possible location and whatnot. But I think a relegation system or like a division placements would definitely be good.
You know, it's Aaron. It's so true, man. We have such a cool system right now with all of these teams, and it's like, we have some great matchups every year, but let's make it even better. Let's move these guys around. Let's get them where they belong. So yeah. I'm really 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 excited for this year, and it's gonna be a great season. So all right, so last year, Darren, speaking of those crazy strong teams, well, kind of crazy, Mount Union, as we talked about, all right, they would make it to the Stag Bowl. A extremely strong Mount Union team. And the best part about Mount Union is everyone knows every single year that you can count on them being somewhere near the Final Four or in the national championship. I mean, it's a given, right? They've had their go arounds with like Mary Hardin Baylor. They've had right now they're having that go around with North Central. Of course, this year's national champions. But it's crazy because no matter what, no matter who's there, who else is there, win or lose, Mount Union is pretty much always there. Haven't we come to learn that, Aaron?
Yeah, it seems like whenever we cover NCAA Division Three, we always see Mount Union and maybe North Central in there. Mary Hardin Baylor's always in the mix,
Mm-hmm.
which is no surprise to me. Also, can't count out St. John's of Minnesota. They're definitely up there, even though they kind of had an early second round tumble and a heartbreaker against Wartburg. So you can't count out anybody. And there might be some other schools that are trying to get into the mix as well. So, all in all, I really think that the NCAA Division Three scene has like more than one really good team, and it has like a lot of good teams, and there's just lots of parity for the top.
No, for sure, Darren. This year, once again, I want Mount Union to move up to Division Two so bad because I think they need to make the jump. I mean, they've been in and around this game since 1993, Darren. There's only been a few years where they haven't really been this deep in the Stag Bowl, well, in the tournament. I mean, so it's like you guys need to get up there. I think for sure you'd be a great NAIA, or I mean, if they ever were to go NAIA, but NAIA, as we know, is comparable to Division Two. But hey, what's going on, Drewski? Drewski up in the chat room. What's up, bro? What's up, man? Yeehaw. Good to see you, man. Glad to have you in the chat. But yeah, Mount Union. When we talk about Mount Union, this team last year did it again. Oh my gosh, I wish I had better notes, but they made it again for like the umpteenth time back to the Stag Bowl. And last year, we talked about, this is crazy. We talked about or last week, I'm sorry. The 3C2A championship was a dud. Okay, we know that. Okay, now we all know that. That RCC just got destroyed by San Mateo. That sucked. Okay, I hated that because, of course, I'm a former RCC Tiger myself, so that hurt. But then Iowa Western, the Reavers, just absolutely mollywopped. Yeah, I said it. I like that word. Absolutely destroyed Hutchinson, the Blue Dragons. 34-0, I think is what it was. So you have both the 3C2A and the NJCAA championships last year being absolute duds. Like, they sucked. Like, there was nothing to cheer for here, It was just, they weren't very good. And what's funny, Taryn? We actually forgot to mention yesterday, or last week, that kind of funny. There is a Division 3. Isn't that funny, Taryn? How we always kind of laugh, but we always forget about that. There's a
I think
division...
you meant week, actually.
Did we
But yeah,
mention it?
I think you mentioned. Well, I don't know if we mentioned the final score of that, but we did mention Division Three. But go ahead.
No, it's crazy, Darren. Division three in the NJCAA. There is no Division two, but there is a Division three and Division one apparently. I don't get the logic behind that, but okay, maybe because of their sports. I don't know, but just in case, of course, we didn't mention it. I don't think we did, but. The Chaparrals of DuPage, and this was actually a good football game, defensive game. DuPage defeated North Dakota SCS 14-12 in the Chaparrals. They actually earned their second back-to-back NJCAA Division III national championship. So congratulations to them. Just in case we didn't do it last week, congratulations. They earned it. Good job. A little junior college there once again. But yeah, so we're talking about Division III in the NCAA. You know, the craziest part is, well, at least that game was good. But the two games last week sucked that we talked about. The national championships of the 3C2 and the NJCAA. Well, it didn't suck. It didn't suck when we get into the Division III national championship whatsoever. That was actually a really good game. And it was, again, consisting of North Central out of Illinois, a very good Division III football team, and, of course, the juggernaut Mount Union. Darren, it's kind of crazy. You and I were supposed to call this last year, this game. Unfortunately, I couldn't get home in time. That was right when we got our little kitty spayed over here, so we couldn't get home in time, and it was just kind of crazy. It was kind of a crazy situation, but I'll tell you right now, this game, though, it would have been fun to call. And I'll tell you right now, it was a great one. Because you and I were texting during the game, like, oh, this is too good. Like, yeah. Because it was a great football game. It really was. I was excited. Big ups to Drewski in the chat room saying JUCOs need love, too. Right, Taryn? JUCOs need love.
Yep.
We gave JUCOs all the love here, y'all. So, but yeah, Darren. So the national championship was awesome. The Cardinals of North Central would knock off the Giants, man. They would knock off Mount Union 28-21. And the Cardinals, man, would win their second NCAA Division III National Championship, or Stag Bowl, if you will, in program history. And, of course, at first since 2019. 2019 was a special year. That's when they had that quarterback when it was a really cool, and I know I always bring this up, Taryn. I know. When you're like, dude, can you stop bringing that up already? I know. But it was really cool. The Stag Bowl a couple years ago consisted of a couple players who just, I don't know. I thought it was great. The quarterback who won, and just so you guys know, the quarterback who won and I forget the name of this, but there is a trophy very similar to the Lombardi trophy in Division III. You know off the top of your head, Taryn? I forgot that darn trophy name. It sounds almost like Lombardi, though. It's like Girardi or something. It's kind of crazy how close it is. It starts with the G, but he wins the national championship. Okay, they won the national championship last year. And he wins the best player, of course, in Division III college football. And this awesome quarterback, man, how great was it to see him throw the last pass? He threw when they beat Wisconsin to Whitewater, the last pass of his career, because, of course, that was his last game. He will throw a freaking touchdown from, like, midfield, which was amazing. Okay, absolutely amazing. And they were already destroying them. It was 34, I think, to 14. Well, it's 41 now to 14. And quarterback Brock Rudder. It was Brock Rudder who would complete his final pass to one of his receivers. I don't know if he was a senior too. But what a very fitting way to end that game. He just wins the comparable award, okay, to the Heisman in Division III. And there it is, man. He freaking, sails off into the sunset with one more touchdown, his last pass of his Division III career. I mean, how cool, right, Taryn? We talked about that before, but I'm going to say that was the first time that the Cardinals won their national championship. And
Yeah. Sorry.
oh no, you're good. You're good, Taryn. What were you gonna say?
Yeah, it's great. And I think the trophy's name is called the Gagliardi Trophy.
Gagliardi, yes.
Yes, the Gagliardi Trophy. Going into that match, going into a deep dive into that match, I'm going to say this: North Central was really strong throughout most of the game, but especially in the first half. They were pitching a shutout through the first half. They were up 14-0 at halftime, and they were actually up 21-0 at one point. But then, obviously, Mount Union, the really good team that they are, obviously they did not want to go down without a fight, and they did all they could to try to make a comeback. But for North Central, they held strong, and they made sure that they did not break and instead of bend. So all in all, for North Central, they got the early jump, and I felt that was too insurmountable for Mount Union to come back from. And in a championship game, you just cannot fall behind by multiple scores. And I feel North Central did an excellent job of continuing to prepare or was very prepared in this game. And honestly, it showed. So when you get that early jump in a big game like that, you really have the upper hand and a leg up on the other team, and it's going to show. So obviously it wasn't Mount Union's day, but the fact that they made it a ball game shows that they're resilient, and you got to go for the throat. They're never done after a 14-point lead. Mount Union is definitely able to come back from deficits. I've seen teams come back from 3 scores down, so it's definitely doable.
Absolutely, Darren. I mean, you and I, we talk about, an issue that we talked about one time, and I don't want to get too deep into it because this is a rabbit hole, Taryn. And that's, of course, if St. John Bosco, in modern day, need to be playing teams like Los Alamitos, you know what I mean? Or, be playing the publics and the privates. We know they have the power to recruit and everything. But when it comes down to it, Taryn, we can look at this and say, who needs to go where, who needs to be playing where, and we cover everything. We cover all these high school games and these big time. So we've seen it time and time again. It doesn't matter when you're at a certain level that's extremely serious, kind of like that national spotlight of high school or in anywhere. It's true, Taryn. When you get down. My gosh, you start out a game. I mean, any given time, you start out any game. All right, any game, you start down. That's never good. But you start playing around, you're down 21-0 at one point. I don't care if you're Mount Union. You know what I mean? That's not the stage you want to do that at, and it's it was really rough for these guys. I feel like right now, Mount Union has regrouped. We know Mount Union very well, Taryn. They're not going away. They're going to be back, but for that game, they didn't have it. And the Cardinals, man, this team, once again, just a couple years ago, they hoisted their very first Division III national championship. And golly, look at them, man. They did it again. They did it a freaking again, Taryn. They did it again. They won their second national championship. And there it is, man. Booyah. They got it done. There it is. Good for them, and there you go. So, Taryn, let's get a quick little take this year, man. What do you think? A lot of these teams, both these teams have returning seniors. Mary Hardin Baylor is still in the mix. They got a lot of talent coming back they did last year as well. You mentioned St. John's. Wisconsin and Whitewater, I think last year didn't have the best year, but, dang well, the Warhawks could be coming back somewhere in this mix. What are you thinking for this year? A little bit of a small little season preview. Do you think Mount Union will come back and earn themselves another title? Mary Hardin Baylor, also another team out of Texas. Of course, Drewski may know something about them. But realistically, do you feel? I mean, there was a lot of talent, I think, that did leave North Central this year. I know they're going to be somewhere around the stage, but. What do you think, man? You think Mount Union is going to pull this thing off again this coming year and win another title? Or do you think back-to-back for the Cardinals? I mean, or somebody else this year? What you think?
So, yeah, I actually forgot about Wisconsin Whitewater. So thank you for bringing that up for me. I forgot they even missed the tournament. But, yeah, that's someone you got to keep an eye out for, Wisconsin Whitewater. Yes, they missed the NCAA tournament, but honestly, they did make the tournament. They just lost in the first round to Aurora.
They were out quick.
Yeah. So obviously they had a brief exit. So that's kind of a little bit of a storyline right there. Wisconsin Whitewater, can they go deeper into the tournament? And North Central, here's the thing. I want to believe that they could make another deep playoff run, but can Lightning strike twice? Can they really get past Mount Union, as well as the likes of Mary Hardin Baylor? And also you have other teams that are on the rise, like Trinity of Texas, Bethel of Minnesota, and Ithaca.
Ithaca's actually gotten much better. They're currently number 9 in the preseason. Pretty good football school. They're out of New York, I believe, Taryn. Very good football school.
Yeah, that is true. So, yeah, there's a lot of competition. So, I'm not going to rule out North Central possibly repeating as champions, but I will say it's going to be a whole lot tougher, especially with this much competition being stacked and being so top heavy. So it's not like the FCS, which no offense to the FCS, where it's like North Dakota State, South Dakota State, and maybe a few others popping in and out of the top 5 or so. So all in all, I will say this about North Central. Don't count them out, but don't really ultimately expect a repeat championship. I mean, if they get to the big dance, awesome. But again, they have to face the entire gauntlet again.
No, I'm with you, man. And Wartburg surprised us all last year. I mean, they would knock off Aurora, they would knock off St. John's, they knocked off, in the first round, Northwestern St. Paul, but they damn near beat Mount Union, man. I mean, in the semifinal, Mount Union, they were up against the fence, man. And I think they were actually, if I'm not mistaken, we talked about this last year too. Mount Union was trailing that game as well. So, I mean, this is a game. This is a good football team where I think this program's going somewhere. Wartburg I believe they're out of Iowa. But yeah, and then Mary Hardin Baylor, they would get blown out in the semifinal, 49-14 by North Central last year, and that's how they would get there. Mount Union, of course, winning 34-31. But yeah, Taryn, I mean, there's so much to look at with these schools. Linfield, of course, that we know all too well, coming out of the West Coast from Oregon, and where are we ever going to see, Taryn, the division that I played in the SIAC, are we ever going to see one of these SIAC teams from Southern California make it to the second round? it just doesn't work, does it? I mean, it's crazy. Every year you cover it. We're used to seeing Redlands go, University of Redlands, and they just don't seem to do it. And then last year, Pomona Pitzer got there, and then Linfield stepped all over them. I mean, it was 51-24. So I don't know. Who's going to win in the SIAC this year? Are we going to get Pomona Pitzer coming out? Is Redlands going to reclaim their crown? So just lots of fun, man. Lots of fun to get into. And well, there's a little look at Division 3. So do you have anything else to add for Division 3 this year, man?
I think that's pretty much it. I kind of forgot about Pomona, the SIAC, and Pomona Pitzer and Redlands, but I'd like to see one of them. But again, they're facing a lot of deep competition, and it's nothing like personal, but I feel it's kind of like the Big West Conference and like some of these other, in like basketball or something of that sort. Like they're good in like their own little conference, but they're not good with like the big pool. It's like little fish, big pond. Whereas for like Mount Union, North Central, Ithaca, Wartburg, St. John's of Minnesota, it's big fish, little pond. So, yeah.
No, that's some truth right there, Terrence. So, alrighty, so we're going to take ourselves a quick break, y'all. When we come back, we got D2 in the house. Yeah, I said it. D2. Yes, I throw up the twos, Taryn. Twos, yeah. Division 2 and NAIA coming your way. You are listening to 3 and Out College Edition right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. We'll be right back talking D2 after this.
What up, Boston sports fans? This is Mikey Two Guns here, your host of Our Bleepin' City, airing every Wednesday night from 7 to 8 p.m. right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Please join me. We'll talk everything Boston sports, all the local teams, college teams. I'm even down to talk MMA, boxing, whatever you guys want. So join me every Wednesday night, 7 to 8 p.m. Chime in with your questions on the chat, tweet the show, We'll even have Collins. I can't wait to hear from you guys. This is going to be a lot of fun. So once again, it's Our Bleepin' City. I am your host, Mikey Two Guns, every Wednesday night from 7 to 8 p.m. right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. See you soon, people.
Well, what is up, Carolina Nation? This is John Felipe of the Carolina Cast, of course, the podcast of, by, and for the Carolinas, right here on IE Sports, your direct feed for all that is sports. And I'm reminding you to tune in Fridays at 7 p.m. Eastern for the latest in Carolina sports, whether it's the Panthers that keep on pounding, the fly natures of the Hornets, the storming Hurricanes, the battle of the Blues with Duke and UNC, the fight of the Clemson Tigers, or the amazing atmosphere of any Carolina college. I'm talking App State, I'm talking ECU. I've got you covered. Once again, tune in for the Carolina Cast with me, John Felipe, Fridays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
That is right, ladies and gentlemen. IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. And we're not playing when we say all that is sports, because we're sitting here covering Division 3 and NAIA and Division 2, so y'all better get with it. That's what we do, y'all. We cover all that is sports. So, Taryn, here we are again, brother. Division 2 last year was a treat. It really was a treat. Ferris State gets back, looking to win their second back-to-back. This team has played so well, and you know what? It just feels so good to see new life in there. You know, we've seen a lot of Division 2 is a lot of fun. We see a lot of fluctuation, not just the Mount Union and Mary Hardin Baylor. They're all the damn time. We actually see some moving pieces. However, the last couple of years, Ferris State out of Michigan. This school has really done well. Interesting jerseys, very interesting jerseys, and I'll tell you, this school, they got something good going. Now, here was something really neat. Is I did not know this, but our Colorado show, Mile High Musings, kind of crazy. I do believe, if I'm not mistaken, our very own Aaron, cool guy, Aaron Newell, if I'm not mistaken, I think he said that he actually follows these guys. And I don't know if he actually went there or knows a thing or two about them. But Colorado School of Mines, man. What a great... Oh, look at that. Now Adam Karnick wants to pop in after we talked about Illinois' North Central winning the title last year in Division 3. Now, did you see over here, Adam Karnick over here just jumping in? Do you see that?
I've got the perfect joke for him, but later on in the show.
Well, let's do it. But alrighty, so here we go. Last year, Ferris State will defeat Colorado School of Mines. It was ugly. It was a bloodbath. It was another blowout. I think at this point in time, too, Taryn, it was already getting closer to Christmas. It was kind of funny, man. Remember us texting, and I was like, yeah, like this year, the blowouts suck. Like, you know what I mean? Like this is ridiculous. And it's kind of funny because it would end up being the final score in the college football playoff championship as well, lopsided. But before we get there, Taryn, 41-14, the Bulldogs, they earned their second championship, man, in program history, which is awesome. They also won back-to-back, so that's always fun. What a good football game for these guys. Everything went right. Everything that possibly could have went right. I mean, seriously, everything. I mean, they must have, I don't know what happened, but I love their demeanor. They walked into this game knowing they were going to win this thing. Everything about this game just happened. And good for them. They fought like hell, they won, and they earned themselves another title. Taryn, I mean, what about Ferris State? I mean, we talked about them all last year. We knew they were going to be somewhere near the championship, and well, here they are.
So this game wasn't ultimately the blowout starting out, as
It wasn't.
Ferris State actually only was up 7-0 after the first quarter, but then second quarter is when they erupted. And you said this was around Christmas time, right?
December 17th.
Oh, okay. Well, 8 days before Christmas. Well, apparently Colorado's School of Mines was in the giving mood at the end of the second quarter, as unfortunately Ferris State decided to run the ball back for a pick six at the pretty much at the end of the quarter, which, oh man, that was pretty much the nail in the coffin right there, as Ferris State was up 27-0 after the second quarter. So a 20-point swing in that second quarter. So I'm just going to say this. Ferris State was in a giving mood, all right. Giving mood for kind of beating up on little brother. And nothing against Colorado School of Mines. Obviously, it was not their day. I just feel maybe championship experience wasn't on their side, whereas for Ferris State, they've had this experience being back in the championship match and whatnot. So obviously, you don't want to lose in big time fashion, but at the same time, you're obviously facing against a giant like Ferris State. So especially the reigning champion. So all in all, for Ferris State, they took care of business. And Colorado School of Mines, I give them a lot of credit for getting that far. And 13 wins, that's still pretty impressive. But against a Ferris State team that has only lost once, even though one of their wins was actually a very narrow 17-14 win over Pittsburgh State, you're going to have a lot of trouble. Oh, and also Ferris State narrowly escaped Grand Valley State. So I just feel Ferris State's playoff experience and championship experience and their gauntlet through the playoffs kind of paved the way for them basically having this type of big game. I feel maybe those two games was not the true Ferris State that we've come to see. And that in the semifinals, Ferris State showed their true potential against West Florida. And then the championship match, Ferris State really brought out the big guns. So that's kind of how I look at it.
It was great, and great stuff there, Taryn. Yeah, man. Ferris State, in that semifinal, you know, once again, you already know me. I'm like a low-key West Florida fan. Go Argos, because this school, as I always tell you, Taryn, in their first couple of years of being a freaking program, they won a national championship. I've been a fan of them ever since. I love their colors. They're just a great football team. They were so close to winning back-to-back titles, man. I mean, this is a great school that got going on. Lots of good stuff going on there. And, you know, last year they were so close, but they got destroyed 38-17, as you mentioned, in the semifinal by Ferris State. Now, School of Mines also blew out Shepherd 44-13. And in this national championship, yeah, Taryn, I mean, you're right. It wasn't always a blowout. School of Mines had a good little fight. It was a good fight. It was. But then, like I said, everything that could go right for them, for Ferris State, did. And it was just a complete beatdown. So, overall, you know, you guys got to say, can this football team come back? And I'd love to get into names of everybody, but can this football team come back and be that team? You know, can they come back and be the team that they were last year? And we see lots of talent coming back for these guys as well. Right now, it just feels good to know that this team that we see, this Ferris State team, you know, we could, you know, I get it. I contradict myself. I talk about kind of like not liking the dynasties and not liking the, you know, all this, like this and that and everything. You know, when teams start winning and destroying everybody else, Alabama. But I will say this though, Taryn. I mean, it's not that I don't like it. It's just, you know, when it does happen, it's cool. But it's just annoying when it happens like over and over and over and over at the same school and everything. But I will say, Taryn, it's crazy when you see a school like, you know, especially in Division II, like right now, like it's come out of nowhere, Ferris State. And if they win another one this year, they have potential to do it. They really do. They went 14-1 last year. I mean, they have total potential to do it. For School of Mines, I don't know who they have coming back, but I do know right now this team does have a lot of firepower. And my goodness, even bringing back half of what they had on that team last year would be just amazing. So looking at that, there's definitely a lot there. There's certainly a lot there. Shepherd, I feel like this school has a lot coming back as well. They certainly have a great program over there. A lot like West Florida, who I feel will also be back in this mix. So, I don't know. Really, the only team that was a little different, that was like, oh, crap, was Angelo State last year. And, of course, that was crazy seeing Angelo State lose in the quarterfinals, which was really crazy, to School of Mines. And, of course, they beat the number 1 overall seed in that bracket. I mean, of course, they were going to go on to the championship. You'd expect them to, and they did. School of Mines. So, Angelo State, let's see what these guys do next year. A lot of these guys probably left that game with a horrible taste in their mouth going, are you serious? We just lost the number 2 seed in the quarterfinals? Like, that's tough. So, I don't know, man. There's a lot to be excited for with Division II next year. And I'll tell you, I feel like right now, this Ferris State team, though, it's exciting, man. I don't think it's ever been done in Division II. I think they have a chance to repeat. Or to three-peat. What do you think, Darren?
Yeah, it's definitely possible, and I'm glad you brought up Angelo State, just because I feel that was probably the one team that I think is the best team to lose in the quarterfinals. I mean, you also have Wingate that could possibly make a comeback. Indiana, Pennsylvania could possibly come back. Grand Valley State, obviously losing that 3-point contest to Ferris State was rough.
Yeah,
but Angelo State, I think, yeah, it's all good. Had a little hiccup, but Angelo State, I think, of all the quarterfinal teams that lost, I think that is a team that could definitely resurge. And as for Colorado State of School of Mines, I really think that they can make it back. I wouldn't say make it back to the championship, but they can make it back to at least the Final Four, even with like half their team. So all in all for them, it was a great run for them. And I feel that now that they have this motivation of they had a great run, they could have success like they did last year. They can build a winning culture and continue that winning culture into the near future and beyond. So who knows? We'll see what Ferris State can bring. I feel three-peat is definitely on the table. So all in all, I think it's definitely doable for Ferris State to three-peat. Obviously, West Florida, I think, can definitely do some damage. And then Shepherd, you can't sleep on. So we'll see what happens this season.
Yeah, Darren, I'm totally with you, man. I'm taking a look here at some of the at Versus Simulator Sports, or Versus Sports Simulator, their website here, and it says that their top 25 rankings are in. And for Division II, and they got Ferris State number 1. Grand Valley State, hey, they deserve it, right? Grand Valley State was pretty damn good. You just brought them up. They deserve it. The Lakers, go Lakers. So Pittsburgh State right behind them. No, not Pittsburgh, the Steel City. We're talking about Pittsburgh, Kansas. Okay, good football team there. Colorado School of Mines at number 4, and then Angelo State at number 5. That's a pretty solid top 5. And I think about Angelo State and what they could have done. Rounding out, they have, let's see here, Northwestern Missouri State, the Bearcats, which we know have won a title in the last, I believe, the decade. West Florida, Ochita Baptist. We have Shepherd, and then Minnesota State, Mankato. They were also, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they were actually, was it them or Minnesota? Yeah, it was Minnesota State, Mankato. That was in the national championship a couple years ago, and they won it all, I believe. So the Mavericks. So Taryn, I mean, you see a really cool you see a really cool season coming up, like I do, I'm sure, in Division II. I don't know. Like I said, it's early to take picks, man, but I don't know. I just really feel that that this Ferris State team can have a major chance. Adam says here in the chat room, best team to lose in the quarterfinals. Now, there's a backhand compliment. Yeah, always tough, right? I mean, unfortunately, everyone's got to fall apart there somewhere. And by the way, I just took a look at Versus. This is a cool website, Versus Sports Simulator. The current top 10, I guess, preseason for Division III We have, of course, number 1, North Central. Number 2, Mount Union. Number 3, Mary Hardin Baylor. Number 3, Wartburg. Number 5, Delaware Valley, which, of course, had a really good year last year. And then from 6 to 10, we have Wisconsin Whitewater, Wisconsin Lacrosse, who also had a pretty good year last year, Taryn. We talked about them quite a few times last year. St. John's, as you brought up already, Minnesota, Trinity, not trying, and Linfield. So there we go. There's the current top 10 right now, according to these guys. So that's pretty cool. I'm glad we found this website. So anyway, Taryn, any last thoughts there on Division 2?
I just will say, you just don't want to sleep on West Florida. I think that could be the sneaky good team of NCAA Division 2. That's just my take. I think that's probably going to be the team that makes it back to the Final Four that's not named Ferris State or maybe Colorado School of Mines. So that's my guarantee that West Florida makes it to the Final Four.
Well, Darren, I think you have a good outlook for this year. And, well, we're going to take ourselves one more break. When we come back, we are talking NAIA. Last year's champions, they were unlikely, but they made it happen. Are we going to get another one of those this year? Are they going to win it this year again? Who knows? But we're going to have some fun with that. You are listening to 3 and Out College Edition right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all. That is sports. We'll be right back talking NAIA after this.
All right. Welcome to AZ Sports Daily. I'm your host, Kiernan Daly, bringing the heat to Arizona sports. There's no discrimination here. We're going to talk about every sports team, professional and college. The show is all about you, the listener. I'm here to entertain you. Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here? It's going to be fun, high energy. You may not agree with what I say. That's okay. Let me hear you. Let's talk about it. Join me every Wednesday, 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, right here on AZ Sports Daily. That's AZ Sports, Daily, and at IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Sports fans, do you like teams that are tough, cities that are tougher, and fan bases that are passionate about their teams? How about teams that are historic and stadiums that are iconic? Then you belong in Chicago, and you need to check out Chi-Town Weekly. Join me, Adam Kernan, every week as we keep up with all things Chicago sports. Bears, Bulls, Blackhawks, Cubs, White Sox. We'll cover them all, plus more. The Windy City is always buzzing, and we'll keep you up on all the big games and major stories. So tune in to Chi-Town Weekly every week right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
That is right, ladies and gentlemen. IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. What's going on, y'all? I had to have a little fun there with y'all, just enjoy ourselves today. Playing with the sound effects because it's fun. It's fun. If you don't think it's fun, you can leave. Anybody in the chat? Just kidding. So anyway, we appreciate you all for tuning in. Thank y'all so much. In our final segment of our show here today, we already talked Division 3. Division 2, just finished up with Division 2, and now here we go into the NAIA. Darren, last year was crazy, man. Last year in the NAIA was nuts. I'll be... Darren, there's no other way to say this, man. I just really thought Kaiser was going to win it. I did. There was one point where I was like, Kaiser's going to win this thing. They did it. They beat everybody they faced. They got it done, man. They were winning. They were winning good football games. They were getting it done. They were making it happen. And then, well, they ran into this Northwest team. And it was just really cool to see how good this football team really is. Ladies and gentlemen, Northwestern from Iowa last year, this school has such a story because they've never made it this far, ever. ever. And it's really cool because Kaiser, we talked about it last year, Terry. I don't know if you remember, I was just riding the wave of the Seahawks, man. And yes, that's who the Kaiser is, the Seahawks have. Darren, it was crazy. Last year, they defeated Morningside from Iowa. They went to Iowa and defeated Morningside. Then they, of course, the defending back-to-back champions already. Then they would go back to Iowa, and they defeated Grand Valley, the Vikings, who are also in Iowa. This team went 2 weeks in a row in the playoffs. This Kaiser Seahawks team, and they won. Darren, Northwestern is also out of Iowa. I mean, I don't think you could blame me very much for picking Kaiser again for the national championship game. I think I don't know where that championship game was played, I forgot, but it wasn't in Iowa. But regardless, they just took out 2 Iowa teams. I was like, hey, you know what? They can go 3 for 3. This Kaiser football team. I think it was also the first time Kaiser made it this far as well. 2 teams that have never been here in the NAIA. At least I'm almost positive. But Taryn, the Raiders, the Red Raiders. Yeah, they're called Raiders, Taryn. Opposite of the team that can't win in the NFL. At least some Raiders can freaking win, so I'm happy. Oh, yeah, I'm happy. At least some Raiders can get the damn job done. By the way, Mount Union, they're the Purple Raiders. So, once again, every Raider can win but the Black and Silver Raiders. So, I'm just saying, So, at least some Raiders. I think everybody knows now, okay, that around iSports Radio that I don't think I can make one show without dissing my Las Vegas Raiders. But anyway, Raider fans out there, in case you want to see Raiders win, you might want to watch the NAIA or Division III because that's the only time you're going to see Raiders actually play worth of crap. So anyway, this Red Raiders team, okay, they know we're talking about the Texas Tech Red Raiders. These Northwestern Raiders defeated Kaiser 35-25. And oh boy, it was a good game. First title in program history. Congratulations. These guys got it done. And you know what, Taryn? I think they're going to be back for more, man. I think Kaiser's going to be back for more as well. Call me crazy, but I really do think that we might have a repeat of the same exact 2 teams next year. I don't know, or this coming year. Taryn, these 2 teams are too good. What did you think, man? NAIA last year. It was awesome, right?
Yeah, and I will say this is the Northwestern team that actually does something right and that actually wins.
Seriously. Yeah.
I had to throw that joke out there. I'm sorry, but I had to do it. Anyway, as for that game against Kaiser, yeah, it was quite the battle in the first half. 7-7 at halftime. And it was quite the battle going into the fourth quarter. But the thing about Northwestern is that they managed to always keep a leg up on Kaiser. And I'm just going to say this right here for Northwestern. Jalen Gramstad, he was a man on a mission. He had 128 rushing yards, 1 touchdown, 247 passing yards, and 3 passing touchdowns. So if you're keeping track, he had 4 touchdowns overall in the championship game. So the dude was he basically put the team on his back. And Cade Moser also had a score. And then you also had Cade Moser had a rushing score and a receiving score. He had 94 receiving yards, with his longest being 69. I'm sorry. Yes, I know 69. Y'all are going to make that joke. He also had a touchdown. Connor McQuillan also had a score for Northwestern. But all in all, for Northwestern of Iowa, I was rather impressed. And yeah, winning on the big stage was a big-time victory for them. And I'll give credit to Kaiser. I thought they played decently. However, I don't think their quarterback play was the greatest. Their ground game was good, totaling 3 rushing touchdowns. But again, the passing game was just so bland, which you have to have a good combination of both, which I feel Northwestern did, not just with Gramstad, but with some of their other guys as well. So all in all, for Northwestern, I think overall, I think their game plan was just better in my opinion. So not to take anything away from Kaiser, but I think Northwestern was just much more prepared. Their offense was ran to a T. It was balanced in terms of running and passing, and I think they just deserved to win.
No, you hit it on the head, Taryn. They deserved to win. They played better. They fought better. And at the end of the day, Taryn, that's the winner. In any sport, the team who goes out there and plays better, makes the least mistakes, is like 99% going to win the damn game. So, yeah, I mean, it's just, it happens, man. It's something that we love to do. And that's talk about what happened, why it happened, and it feels good to know that this team last year fought very well and earned that title. So going back, I just love this website. This website is pretty cool. Versus Sports Simulator. NAIA rankings here. They actually have Morningside number 1, Taryn. So even though they didn't win it last year, they got Morningside back up there. But Taryn, it's fair to say Morningside is definitely a powerhouse in the 2020s for sure. I think they won their first one in 2019, if I'm not mistaken, or 2018. But Morningside is still going to be, Iowa. They're still going to be really good. Then you have Northwestern out of Iowa, of course, a team that won it all. They're currently number 2. Grandview, another Iowa school, because Iowa is where it's at in the NAIA, apparently. Kaiser out of Florida. And then Indiana Wesleyan. That is the current top 5. Then we have Lindsey Wilson, rounding out the top 10. Lindsey Wilson out of Kentucky. Marion out of Indiana. They won a couple back-to-back titles in the 2010s, if you want to call them that. Benedictine out of Kansas. College of Idaho, the Yotes have gotten their way into the top 10. And then Dort. And I forgot where Dort was, Taryn. I really did. I feel like an idiot. But I totally forgot where that was. But yes, Taryn, these schools are ready for war this year. I am so excited. We got some great football coming our way. And the NAIA, I'll tell you right now, the NAIA does not disappoint. It does not. There's no transfer portal. There's no nothing. It's just old school, good old. I mean, it is kind of, I think the NAIA has it right, man. They got all the good stuff going on. It's pure college football. And at the end of the day, they have the best way to decide national championship. And it's called a freaking tournament, FC or FBS. Get with it. Anyway, so, Taryn, there we are. There it is. And there's our look at Division III, Division II, and the NAIA. We just finished high school last week, national championship, or national high schools, that is, around the country. And some of the biggest matchups we're going to take a look at. Once again, if you guys don't know, next week, y'all, on Saturday, be ready, because we are going to have some national spotlights on the defending national champions, St. John Bosco, out of Southern California. We'll be taking on Liberty out of Nevada, in Nevada. And good old Corona Centennial, the football factory here in Southern California. We'll be taking on the bigger football factory in modern day, coming on up on next Saturday as well. So lots of big, a couple big high school spotlight games there. But, and of course, following that, on the next Friday, actually, we have some good ones coming up too. Orange Lutheran of Southern California taking on De La Salle of Northern California, for anybody who's ever seen them in the game stands tall. Bishop Gorman out of Nevada taking on Long Beach Poly. They were also in the game stands tall versus De La Salle in that movie years ago. But Long Beach Poly will be taking on Bishop Gorman. And then, of course, Rockledge, Florida will be flying their way over to Texas to take on Duncanville over in the DFW in Drewski's neighborhood. So, or in his neck of the woods. So got some great college or high school football coming at you guys soon in the next couple of weeks. But Taryn, anything to add? Anything you want to add there for the NAIA before we're out of here?
I think that is pretty much it for the most part. Honestly, Morningside of Iowa, yeah, they did win it not last year, but the previous year over Grandview, which I thought was pretty darn impressive. And then The previous championship was won by Lindsey Wilson, which was won in 2020 in the spring of 2021.
COVID.
Which is classified as 2020. So, which was basically post-COVID. And then Morningside also won in 2019 when they beat Marion for their second straight title, which followed up 2018. So I understand why Morningside is picked as number one, just because they're kind of the juggernaut, kind of like that Alabama / Georgia of NAIA football. You just can't get rid of them. So you basically got to drive the stake / cross into the throat / heart of them. So that's how I look at it.
No, you're right, man. Morningside is a monster school. So, man, Taryn, it's always fun, brother. And I'm glad we're here again talking about all this football that no one really seems to talk about. But I'm glad we're here talking about it. It's always a lot of fun. And, of course, big ups to our chat room, man. Adam Karnick. And Drewski, it's Drewski says, state champs, D-ville. Yeah, man. Duncanville this year. I mean, can we please? Well, don't we have that, Taryn? If I'm not mistaken, one of our SoCal teams actually plays Duncanville this year, right? Or am I mistaken? I think I might be mistaken, but it's somewhere in here, man. Let me take a look. It's later on in the season, I think. But Duncanville's it's the IMG Academy or the St. Francis Academy. Modern Day is playing them on the 20th of September. And I mean that's a great day to play a football. Actually, no, that's on the 22nd. Central is playing Chaminade on the 21st, and that's Earth, Wind, and Fire, man. Do you remember? So, what was that there?
The 21st night of September.
Oh, he wants to get it going. Oh, don't play with me. Don't play with me. I'll get my bass. Don't do it. Don't do it, Taryn. Don't do it. You don't even understand. Actually, you do, because you've been around IE Sports Radio long enough. But oh my gosh. Well, I'm going to get my bass. I think it's time to jam. Taryn done did it now, man. I'm going to be playing. We have an IE Sports Radio meeting coming up after this show, and I might be playing through the damn meeting. I don't know. But anyway, guys, I am excited. This is going to be a lot of fun, and we are going to enjoy every moment of this season, y'all. So there it is. Thank you, Drewski, for tuning in. Thank you for Adam for tuning in, y'all. We got to cue that music because we are up out of here. Oh, man, it's been fun. Taryn, as always, brother, thanks for being here today, man. Any last words for all of our listeners out there?
Stay out of trouble and don't make t-shirts that might stir the pot even more if you're in trouble.
Looking at you, Catholic versus convicts. Just kidding.
And Western of Chicago, of Illinois.
That whole situation over there, just...
At least one Northwestern is actually doing things correct.
At least one of them is, and that's the NAIA, but... Oh boy, the other one's a mess. I just hope that everything gets well soon, because I want to see the Wildcats succeed after this, but... This whole crap right now just sucks seeing all this happening because of all bad choices people can make. But we all make them. We always have a second chance. Hopefully everything gets good. But anyway, guys, there it is. High school and JUCOs last week in the AJCAA and the C2A. This week, we had Division III, Division II, and the NAIA. And you already know, next week, before we actually get to kickoff the following week on the 26th, next week we are talking FCS and, of course, the FBS. That's just like the most boring thing to watch now, as much as I love it. We got the Pac-12 just disappearing on us. Got Georgia being the new Alabama. That's just so much fun to watch. And, just stuff like that. So, at least the FCS is somewhat competitive. North Dakota State and South Dakota State. There's two teams at least. Anyway, with that said, that is going to do it. Thank y'all for tuning in. That was a lot of fun. We appreciate y'all so very much for being here. Follow us at 3&Out IECE. Show us some love. Website, IE Sports Radio. Pick up some merch. Planet Jerky, our sponsor shop with them. PlanetJerky.net. We use some jerky. It's delicious. And we appreciate you guys also very much for being here. Taryn and I, for my boy Taryn Rodriguez, for me, your boy Larry B. We will see y'all next week. Until then, take care. God bless.